So today I want to talk about something different. I don't always get super personal on here, but I'm going to get a little personal. Some of you may know about my background, others may not, but I've been reflecting a lot lately because I've had two instances recently where something has come up, and whenever I have something come up more than once, there's something to be said there. Like it makes me pause. So I had someone tell me, I think you adapt so well because of your background. Like you grew up, you had a crazy environment, which I'll get into in a minute, and it allows you to do really well. So like when I do on-sites, I can go anywhere and just adapt. Like when I start a new job, I adapt really well. Like it's just who I am. But it made me really stop and think, wow, I think there's some truth in that. And I was at a conference recently where someone was talking about their superpower was exactly this, and they had a crazy background childhood as well. So for those who don't know, I grew up in a super small town, and my mom was killed by a drunk driver when I was 7. The crazy part is she was heading to go pick up my dad from a bar, and she was killed by a drunk semi driver. So my dad continued to struggle with that for years and eventually died essentially from drinking and smoking too much. So you could say that that defined me and everything. And I think it did for years. Like people would be like, so tell me about you. That would be one of the first things that came out of my mouth. And not saying that that's bad or that's good or anything like that, but it just, it would, it's just interesting how that was always the thing. And now it rarely comes out because that's not who I am. I've done my work, I've done my therapy for years. I've done plant medicine. Yep, I said that. So I've done ayahuasca. I've done other forms of plant medicine as well. Highly recommend as long as you're approved by your doctor, your therapist, if you're in there. Would love to talk that with anyone who would love to hear about that. But what that's allowed me to do between those two deaths of my parents, as well as many other close family members at a very young age that I lost. I've done tons of hospice volunteering and work through that. I just have a huge empathy for people. And because of my own personal work, it's allowed me to see when, sorry, I got something in my eye. It's allowed me to see and to pick up when someone is dealing with something personally. Like if they're reacting to something, I can be like, oh, that's just their inner child. And so those who've worked with me, like at all hours, they know I would say crazy stuff like that to them all the time. And I'm like, that's just their trauma talking. Like, because it's wild. When you do your own work, you can see that everywhere. I digress. So I'm saying that just for the fact that it can really help you. Like for me, I found it super beneficial. It gave me lots of empathy. It helped me run our team better. At least I think I did. And so I just ask you several things. So again, like we will always talk about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis to take care of your mental health as well as your physical health. That's so important. You have to take care of yourself first before you can be there for your loved ones, before you can be there for your team. It will just make things go much, much easier. And then how, like, are you becoming a victim or are you working through things? Like, don't become a victim. Don't let that bring you down. I had a crazy childhood and I don't let it impact me. If anything, it's made me a better person. I've worked through it. I can digest all of that. Like, really think about that. So how are you working through your things? How are you making yourself a better person so that you can be there for your loved ones, for yourself, for your loved ones, as well as your team? That's my question for you today.